I have been trying to survive with Night Sisters for many years. The real performance is about to begin.
In the seventh episode of the Ahsoka series, titled Dreams and Madness, all of the characters have finally arrived at their long-desired location. Ahsoka Tano, played by Rosario Dawson, arrives at Peridea in the last episode of the Star Wars Disney Plus TV series, but Grand Admiral Thrawn, played by Lars Mikkelsen, is still well ahead of her in his meticulous plan. In Ahsoka Episode 7, the cosmic planet has formally assumed its role as the location of all the conflict, and there are plenty of nightmares and insanity to go around. In essence, this episode is about bringing everything that will happen in the season finale to a close. This episode doesn't require that the audience pay attention to any particular character, since everyone in it, from Ahsoka to Thrawn, is trying to achieve the goals they've had from the beginning of the series. Then in Ahsoka Episode 7, the focus shifts from characters to a location that many people long believed to be the stuff of fairy tales. In Ahsoka Episode 6, Baylan Skoll refers to Peridea as a land of dreams and madness in a conversation with Shin Hati. Now that Ahsoka has finally arrived on the planet, Peridea is at the center of this episode's plot. The title is centered on the planet since it frequently switches between different people. From Baylan's covert plan to Thrawn's horrifying triumphal return to the Star Wars universe, everyone on Peridea has set out to do something audacious. These two in particular are driven by the fantasies and lunacy of this extraterrestrial world. One seeks to interact with it, the other seeks to escape it. A persona like Ezra Bridger has a fantasy of returning to the familiar galaxy, but in order to make that dream come true, he must contend with the sanity of people around him. This is also true of Sabine, who succeeds in her goal of reconciling with Ezra, despite having to cooperate with the enemy, which has been her part of the whole craziness. The fight to reach Peridea has served as the driving force behind everything, which is why it is underlined in the title of this episode as the action on the planet gets underway. Ahsoka has made allusions to Shakespeare's Macbeth before. The title of Episode 2 is Toil and Trouble, which is a reference to the three witches of Macbeth, who are represented by the Night Sister Great Mothers in the Star Wars franchise. Characters like Baylan and Thrawn are undoubtedly pursuing power in some capacity because the notorious play itself is about the aspirations and mania of Macbeth. In ways like this, Dave Filoni hasn't been afraid to reveal the inspirations behind this program. From Ahsoka's metamorphosis to Gandalf's to the Great Mother's namesake fates in Greek mythology. One of the major classics that has influenced this series in various ways is Macbeth, which might have a significant payoff in the season finale, particularly for the character who defined Peridea in that way. In a manner somewhat reminiscent of Macbeth himself, Baylan has been nothing short of enthralled by whatever has been calling to him on Peridea.